teammate Ebifiye Ofongo from Bayelsa too. So with the way the pairings are, there are possibilities where two players from the same state would meet against each other, and this is one of such cases. So I'm curious here to see what the Bayelsa players have to offer and what we will be witnessing in this game. All right, Rhoda to go first. Let's see the first tiles she would be picking in this game. For anyone just joining, my name is Excel Noiva. I'll be your commentator for the Scrabble event at the Niger Delta Games 2026, happening live at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium in Benin City, Edo State. Okay, we seem to have a pattern of really fast plays here from players. FETE here is the first move for Rhoda, leaving IEG. There was the option of gift. I'm guessing that must mean maybe the person who is receiving the gift. Yeah, so gift and then the gift. He should have scored 24 points, but I think FET here still seems pretty reasonable if you ask me. Perhaps just the opening the F is giving back to the opponent is what I would have something against, but it's still pretty minimal here. And let's see what Ebifiye can come up with. She has TUTEAAH. We're hoping to play what like Bahut somewhere on the board. Let's find out. Meanwhile, taking a quick look at the standings for the female category as at round 3, Sophia seems to be on 3 wins and no losses so far, while Rhoda, who is on our screens now, is also unbeaten so far with 3 wins. So, and our opponent seems to be in 6th position with 2 wins and 1 loss. So I'm pretty excited to see what these two players have in store in this game. We've seen the move back come down as the move. All right, wasting no time. Engines, the first bingo of this round coming down from Rhoda. Really nice find there, wasting no time. And it was back to Ebifiye now with Z, and I'm sure she's happy to see that. Oh, are we seeing a challenge? Bath and Bait seems to be pretty common knowledge, but I guess it's just eluding her right now. Just challenging to make sure the word is valid. So yeah, that's going to be an extra 10 points for Rhoda. All right. Apologies. A quick update of the scores. Engines scored 72 points, but with the extra 10 points, that'll be 82, and that will take Rhoda to 96 points to Ebifiye's 23 points. Now we can see she's holding on to that Z for a little longer, going for Utah, scoring, I mean, a bit low, but I'm sure she's hoping to cash in on the Z later on. So Utah scoring 15 points there. We can see Rhoda wasting no time, going for font, leaving IRSX. Since both players having a pattern here of retaining their high scoring tiles, hoping to cash in on it next turn. A much better option would have been KNUR looking GUR for 34 points, leaving ISX. But Funk still seems like a reasonable choice here, scoring 22 points. And now, would we be seeing Ebifiye cashing in on the Z? Interestingly, she's okay. I saw a range lane just now, which would leave way too many clunky tiles. That would retain Z, B, and C. So I think it would be wise of her to try and play out the Z now. If not, maybe just use up the F, B, and C combination any way she can. I mean, from the last move she made of Utah, it's opened up a really nice scoring opportunity there at the top right corner of the board. So she should really be locking in on that spot for some high scoring options. You can see her range FAZE, which would already hook GE and score pretty well there. So perhaps she's unsure of the GUE hook and something understandable at this stage. It's understandable if players still doubt the three-letter word. So perhaps she's unsure of the GUE hook. But if she were, then I think right away she would have gone for something like phase. And even if she wants to keep the Z, something like wave there is still, pretty standard. I can see Coin Solara Saki in the chat pointing out ZEAL, looking GUL. That would score 54 points and would, would be really nice play there to catch up to Rhoda since Rhoda is already on 8 and she's still up at 8 points. But still going for foul instead, which retain CLZ. There is still some respect for the Z later on. Let's see what happens. But if you can see the first bank of the day on the flag, she has J1RRXTX. We've spoken about before, she can be over. I'm sure she's looking to play out the J or the X, but with the shape of the body, it's hard to difficult right now. This is going to be a really tricky turn for Rhoda because there's the obvious choice of wanting to run your blank and play REX, which is exactly what she's doing now, scoring 40 points within JRST. But I think it's a bit counterintuitive for a lot of experienced Scrabble players because you feel you would want to retain that blank to bingo later on. So maybe you're going to exchange or just slowly play out your tiles like JUT to the U in Funk or something like that. But I think Rex for 40 points here is still impressive. It could be Rex or Rax. Quite unsure what the blank is, but I'm going to assume it's Rex. So that scores 40 points and retains the J and the S, which given the right kind of tiles, she could maybe hook Funks later and maybe score a whole lot of points there. So back to Ebifiye now, it's EZCOLLI. Would we be seeing her eventually play out Z? Okay, she's going for Riz. If the blank was E or Rex, then she could have played Fez and something down there like ZEL, scoring 62 points. But maybe it's FA, and and that option is unavailable. So we're saying I'll go for Reese, scoring 36 points, leaving EOCCL. Still, Rhoda has been unable to pick a vowel with the tiles she has. She has CRWJSTN. This greatly limits options right now on this turn, but she could still, try and play out something. There is cunt through the U in funk as an option, but I think she exchanged. Yes, I believe we saw an exchange there, just leaving JRST. I mean, she has a 52-point lead. Maybe she's just hoping that opponents, play something that will give her the opportunity to punish it later on. As you can see, she's keeping the J and the S. So the Funk's hook is still available, and I'm sure she's hoping to hook that later on. But you can see, Scrabble can be very funny. She has been unable to find any vowel. But with the Y, I think it's still something she can still navigate her way around. Y might be a consonant, but there is a way it works with other consonants itself that makes it double as a vowel sort of. So I'm sure she would figure that out when it's her turn. Back to Ebifiye now with COLLABE, and she has two 9-letter words available for her, one of which is a word I'm sure she pretty much knows. Through the AT at the center of the board, she could play allocated. Allocated there would score 64 points, and it would be a really impressive find if she can find it. I'm sure this is one of those cases where if someone told her there is a bingo to the 80, she would most likely find the allocated. But with those set of tiles, you're probably not even going to start bordering to look for 9-letter bingos. So we see I'll go for cola instead. This scores 21 points, leaving EDL. Okay, you're saying Rhoda waste no time, looking funky and playing try there for 27 points. I'm sure she was hoping to hook the funk with S or with the wide draw now. I think hooking funky instead is pretty understandable. And all hopes of bingoing has been dashed at least um, for a while right now for Ebifiye with the Q draw. QOLORET. Or is that two D's? I think that's two D's. Yeah. So QOLDRET there for Ebifiye, and at best maybe she could play sorted through the SN engines, scoring 27 points. What this does is plays out a lot of tiles. There is still the blank on scene. So maybe just maybe this will give her a chance to go into the bag and pick that blank and even any of the two U's left to accompany the Q she has. So that's one option worth considering. And there is a sneaky play here of IRED to the I in wheels. That would put FER and AXE. This scores 30 points, retains ODLQ, which is not the best of leaps, but I mean, 30 points is something she would be looking to score right now, given the difference in scores. We can see Rhoda on 185 to Ebifiye's 127. So either of those two options, or maybe just the simple solder, SOLDER, if she's unable to spot sorted. Solder scoring 24 points, leaving DQ is a reasonable option there, but we saw her go for what instead. I mean, I have missed the move there. Or was that an exchange? Oh, it seems players here are not, um, they certainly don't mind exchanging their tiles. So quickly we saw JO as the move for Rhoda, retaining RRNS blank on that step. All right, unfortunately, still with the exchange, Ebifiye was unable to find the exact styles that she would have loved to have. If there was a floating S, she would have memories, but that is not available for her on this turn. And she was unable to pick any of the last three S's left or the blank. As you can see, the blank is already with Rhoda. So Mom seems to be the option here for her for the move. She could play MONE too, but I think either works. If you play MONE, it creates a very, very easy underlap for the opponent. So Mom there is one option. Any play here that would score pretty well has to be underneath the jail. So there really isn't anywhere else on the board she can score over 30 points, except she could score SIMMER, SIMMER, through the S in engine. So yeah, that would be something worth considering. That's 39 points and leaves EO. So and it doesn't give back way too much for your opponent. So I think SIMMER is a move that she could have considered. But are we seeing a phony play here? Unfortunately, she's played TOI. Still perhaps rusty with the three-letter word, so it's understandable. And who knows, maybe with a bingo now from Rhoda and S floating, she would eventually be able to play our memories. But nope, we're saying none as the move from a rack of UNRRAS blank. There were just two bingo options for Rhoda. She had Currans, CURRANS, became TO for 60 points, and still a 9-letter of urinators through the TO in try. So yeah, just playing MUR there, leaving RANS blank. I'm sure she's pretty confident about being going next, especially with the fact that our opponents just played a phony. So now Rhoda is leading with nearly 90 points. But Ebifiye now still has the option to score over 30 points if she can spot most like SIMMER or MONE. And looking at Rhoda's rack now with SARRED, I'm sure she's most likely going to bingo next time. It would be really difficult to miss the bingo she has there. Okay, I'm surprised that Ebifiye is going for just 12 points. And she could have easily scored over 30 points in that ball. Maybe she's worried about opening up too much for her opponent. I mean, you're down already. You might as well just go for your highest score and hope for the best. But yeah, MOIT was the move. And now with RADES, Rhoda has RADES blank. Rhoda has countless options. The highest scoring play is 33 points. So 93 points, which is ARRIDES, ARRIDES, underneath JO. So even if she's not able to spot that, almost any bingo fits beneath the JO there and scores nearly 90 points anyway. So all Rhoda needs to do is take her time. She has 13 minutes, and all the time in the world to try and figure out the best possible play there. So far, this has been, a slow-paced game so far. We've seen both players trying to struggle with trying to balance their tiles and all, but so far it's still been impressive play from Rhoda, especially spotting engines earlier in the game, and since then, even though she ran into some constant struggle, not having enough vowels on her tile, on her rack rather, but now she's been able to balance her tiles and has the perfect tiles to play almost 90 points in this turn. So I think she's going for this could be warders, it could be yarders, it could be ladders, it could be a lot of things. We can get confirmation what the blank is. Although as usual, I'm going to take a guess and maybe just assume it's warders, because that makes like a lot of sense. So yes, we're seeing a challenge there, so it definitely is the warders, and that was going to be 99 points after the challenge. We seem to be having a pattern of how do I put this now? Games that have huge margins. In the past two games we've had on stream now, it's been nearly 200 points difference between both players. And this game, even though things started pretty close, now Rhoda is on 311 points to Ebifiye's 139. Things aren't looking so good for Ebifiye right now. Okay, we're seeing a pretty nice underlapping play here though of EME scoring 34 points. Now back to Rhoda with QUIDGW. Yeah. And with the Q and U combination, I'm sure she will be pleased to see those two. Not a lot of options for the Q right now. The obvious move would be like Q quite to the E in engines, scoring 34 points. But we've seen a pattern between both players here where they try to play out other tiles within the high scoring tiles they have, hoping for maybe an opening next turn or to score higher with that tile next turn. So I have a feeling here she would not play the Q, and you can see she's just going for Fed here, just plunking on the E and waiting to see if Ebifiye is going to open up something for her. And I think this move also maybe Rhoda wants to, put pressure on Ebifiye. You can see she has less than 7 minutes on the clock, so maybe playing fast and playing few tiles would put a lot of pressure on Ebifiye. I would definitely not advise the approach, but I mean, it might be a style, and let's see if it works out fine. But we are seeing one of the most common phonies you would see from inexperienced players. There is no lies here. I can't count how many times I've played this phony myself, and I've had to learn the hard way. So, unfortunately, this is going to be challenged off. And really nice there from Rhoda spotting the phone there. Because I mean, it sounds a bit reasonable. You might think, I realize it might be valid, but I'm sure Rhoda herself has, maybe played it and found the hard way too. And I'm sure Ebifiye now too is finding out the hard way that word is invalid. So that was challenged off. And let's see. Rhoda has QUAGIW. Not quite sure what the last tag is. Okay, T. Okay, we're saying I'll go for TAW. Just trying to keep things as close and tight as possible. Still no bingos for Ebifiye, but I think most like these are pretty easy to make up your mind on. Um, there are certain things we call in Scrabble stems. When you have tiles like this, SAILER plays with a lot of other tiles. So if you just play the O and go into the bag, you're like most likely going to pick a bingo next turn, especially with the fact that there are openings on the board already for 7-letter bingo. So that might be something worth considering, but we see if you go for LOC instead. I mean, AEIRS lead is not so bad, but just playing the O would increase your chances of bingoing next turn a lot better than AEIRS. Still the kill left on Rhoda's rack there. Still hoping for an opening she can cash in. And yet again in this turn, still not playing out the kill. But I think she must feel confident about it since she has the U and the I with it. So the chances of this being a game where she's still stuck is pretty slim. So yeah, let's see what happens. Okay. Ebifiye add AVERSEI, and there was no bingo for her. So she went for savers instead, scoring 39 points. Well, I think Ebifiye's timer is still going. She must have forgotten to click on the clock there. Hopefully, this doesn't affect the end game later on. Although, yes, Rhoda is most likely going to win, but for every minute Ebifiye exceeds the timer there, it's going to be an extra 10 points for Rhoda. Okay, we're seeing now finally play out the queue. I believe that's Queens scoring 24 points and gradually bringing the game to a close there. You can see Ebifiye slightly fidgeting there, and she has gone for adage. I guess this is why Rhoda was trying to play her moves really quickly just to put a lot of pressure on Ebifiye. And it seems to be working, but with less than 3 minutes left, I think she could still finish this game without having to go overtime. All right, Rhoda taking her time now. She has WOEOIYL. And there are a ton of options for her. I think she's going for one. I mean, ideally, you would want to play out 5 tiles, 4 tiles, just try and end the game as quickly as possible. But Rhoda seems to want to take things really slow here. And that's Ebifiye now and trying to rush her move, making sure she does not go over time. Quick score update after the fight here should be Rhoda's 4-7 to Ebifiye's 259, about 140 points difference. Not quite the 200 points difference we've been seeing for like the past 2 games now. Still, I think it's pretty much safe to say it's Rhoda's game, and come back here would be next to impossible for Ebifiye. All right, PYE was played there for 28 points. Ebifiye now with styles that would probably make her waste a bit of time because they don't have a lot of synergy. She has less than 2 minutes left on the clock, and I still can't seem to find what she did though. There seems to be a bit of glitch on my end. I'll try and see if I'm not missing anything. Okay, I think Royal or um, apologies, give me a few seconds to sort out what exactly I'm saying. Or was ROI played? Okay, so it seems the full name of ROI was played, which is a bit funny to me because there is, of course, the acronym of ROI, Return of Investment. Or, I mean, ROI is not a word in Scrabble, so I'm surprised that was allowed since I know Brother Sips have challenged two phone off in this game, so surprising that stayed on the board. But yeah, ROI was played. Now it's back to whether it's POLISON. She seems to be taking her time here. She has obviously a lot of time to think through this move. Oh, is she adding? She's adding the S to would Ebifiye now challenge this? I'm really curious to see. Oh, no, it wasn't challenged. So yeah, Ebifiye must have genuinely got ROI is a word, and interesting to see an S added to that. Okay, Dom, the move from Ebifiye for 16 points, and now it's NOLI. Rhoda can easily end the game playing Lion or not next to GHI. Yeah, but of course, okay, the same Lion play as the last move from Rhoda. I think the last few moves are a bit comical, seeing ROI play, and not just that, but an S added to it. But we consider this as being a really interesting game. It's rare to see, not rare to say the ball, it's unusual when you start to see Scrabble games go down to 17 or 18 moves. I mean, by 10, 11, 12 moves, the game is over. But here we saw this game drag on to about 17 moves from both players. So that just shows there's a lot of shot plays made, mostly from, I mean, it's not to say who played shorter words more, but yeah, overall, still pretty impressive game from Rhoda, and this is still going to maintain our unbeaten run in this tournament. Final scores were as 45, 2 used 288. Next up, we'll be having round 5 on the screen soon. So be sure you grab your coffee, your popcorn, and relax and stay tuned to the channel. Round 5 of the Niger Delta Games 2026 singles quality event will be on the screen very soon. Stay tuned.